At what point does a high-profile marriage stop being an intimate romantic partnership and transform into a multi-million-dollar, structurally unbreakable corporate alliance that simply refuses to follow the rules of traditional divorce? That is the profound, deeply complex question the entire entertainment industry is asking itself after witnessing the latest chapter in Hollywood's most unconventional love story. This past Monday evening, the cobblestone streets outside the upscale Lulu restaurant in Paris became the stage for a masterclass in modern celebrity optics. Walking arm in arm through a sea of flashing paparazzi bulbs, Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith looked every bit like a pristine, deeply connected power couple enjoying a high-fashion European getaway. Turning heads with coordinated, effortlessly sharp ensembles, the two exuded a level of comfort and physical ease that most married couples struggle to project after 3 decades together. But as the viral snapshots and video clips rapidly traversed global feeds over the last 72 hours, the public response instantly bypassed the surface-level glamour of the evening. Audiences did not just see a husband and wife sharing a tender moment in the city of light. Instead, they began meticulously calculating the bizarre, unprecedented math of a relationship that has been openly defined by a decade of physical separation without a single legal signature to end it. The factual timeline of this Parisian outing reveals a family unit that continues to operate with absolute precision when it comes to supporting the legacies of their children. The Smiths did not congregate in France for a random vacation or a sudden romantic reconciliation. Instead, the family rallied together to celebrate an extraordinary professional milestone for their 27-year-old son, Jaden Smith. Late last year, luxury powerhouse Christian Louboutin sent shockwaves through the fashion world by naming Jaden as the historic, first-ever men's creative director in the brand's iconic history. Tasked with overseeing 4 annual collections spanning footwear, leather goods, and accessories, Jaden has spent months merging his own psychedelic, abstract design philosophies with the heritage craftsmanship of the legendary red-bottom brand. This week marked the official rollout of his highly anticipated capsule collection during Paris Fashion Week. To honor the achievement, Will and Jada stepped out alongside Jaden and their daughter, Willow, turning the high-stakes fashion capital into a definitive display of parental solidarity. For the dinner at Lulu, Will kept things characteristically charismatic, sporting a red and black patterned short-sleeve button-up over a clean white tee, camel trousers, and a baseball cap. Jada matched his confidence yard for yard, serving high-fashion elegance in a structured black jacket featuring Christian Louboutin shoulder harness straps, monogram print Louis Vuitton flared jeans, and layers of diamond jewelry. It was an immaculate image of familial success, proving that regardless of what labels they place on their private lives, the Smiths show up when it matters most. Yet, the second that footage hit the digital bloodstream, the conversation exploded far beyond Jaden's design philosophy, triggering a massive, hyper-analytical wave of debate across TikTok, X, and various pop culture forums. The internet immediately zeroed in on the profound irony of the visual. Here are 2 individuals who, by their own public admission, have lived entirely separate lives in completely separate households since the year 2016. They have endured public disclosures of emotional affairs, viral talk show confrontations, and the single most infamous physical altercation in Academy Awards history. Yet, 10 full years into a separation they have explicitly stated they never intend to legally terminate, they are still capable of walking arm in arm, smiling broadly, and projecting a level of unified stability that baffles the average observer. Viral video essays from the last 48 hours have begun comparing this new Paris footage with Jada's intense 2023 book tour disclosures, where she famously shocked the world by revealing the depth of their marital estrangement. The digital commentary has split into 2 fiercely dug-in camps, arguing over whether this ongoing display of physical intimacy is a beautiful example of unconditional love that transcends societal expectations, or a calculated public relations exercise designed to maintain the immense financial and cultural power of the Smith family brand. To understand why this specific walk in Paris has escalated into such a polarized cultural conversation, you have to look at how much the public has been forced to invest in the internal mechanics of this marriage over the years. For over 2 decades, Will and Jada were marketed as the gold standard of Black Hollywood royalty, an untouchable, deeply monogamous, fiercely protective partnership. But when the curtain was pulled back via their own media platforms, exposing a reality filled with entanglements, profound isolation, and a conscious decision to separate while keeping up appearances, the audience felt a collective sense of whiplash. When a celebrity couple spends years feeding the public a specific narrative of marital perfection, only to later admit it was an illusion, the audience permanently loses its ability to view their actions through a naive lens. Every hug, every shared laugh, and every arm-in-arm stroll is instantly subjected to an intense level of media-literate skepticism. Modern viewers do not see a spontaneous moment of affection, they see a production. They analyze the placement of Jada's arm, the direction of Will's smile, and the strategic presence of the paparazzi, treating a family dinner like a complex piece of corporate theater meant to manage public perception. This dynamic speaks volumes about the current state of influencer and celebrity culture, particularly how the elite navigate accountability in an era of hypervisibility. In a traditional fame model, a marital breakdown of this magnitude almost always results in a highly public, deeply bitter legal divorce. Assets are split, public statements are issued via high-powered publicists, and the individuals slowly build separate public identities. But the Smiths have pioneered a completely different, highly sophisticated alternative, the undivorced separation. By refusing to legally dissolve the marriage, they protect the massive, interconnected financial infrastructure of their respective empires. More importantly, they maintain a narrative of total resilience. The message they are broadcasting to the world through these Parisian photos is clear. You can criticize our choices, you can meme our past controversies, and you can dissect our secrets, but you cannot break the foundation we have built. It is a form of cultural defiance that reframes their marital complications not as a failure, but as a hyper-evolved, highly enlightened partnership that ordinary people simply aren't spiritually mature enough to comprehend. When you strip away the cynical public relations analysis, however, the long-term impact of this appearance on their individual and collective reputations reveals a fascinating paradox. For Will Smith, who has spent the last few years systematically rebuilding his box office viability and public goodwill following the intense fallout of the 2022 Oscars, these moments of domestic warmth are incredibly vital. Seeing him play the role of the proud, supportive father alongside a smiling, affectionate Jada helps soften the lingering cultural memory of that volatile night in Los Angeles. It repositions him in the public eye as a grounded, deeply loving family man who has successfully navigated the storm and found peace. For Jada, whose public reputation took a massive hit during her raw, unfiltered confessional era, stepping back into a quiet, supportive role alongside her husband and children does wonders for her standing with mainstream audiences. By swapping the intense, highly controversial disclosures of the Red Table Talk studio for a chic, dignified stroll through Paris Fashion Week, she shifts the narrative from individual drama to collective family success. Ultimately, this Parisian outing forces us to look past standard tabloid speculation and confront a much bigger, deeply fascinating question about the changing architecture of modern relationships in the public eye. The Smiths are actively proving that a marriage can survive the death of romance if it is anchored by a shared commitment to legacy, family execution, and mutual professional respect. They have effectively separated the concept of partnership from the concept of a traditional husband and wife, creating a customized arrangement that services their unique lives as global icons. As the viral clips of their arm-in-arm walk continue to accumulate millions of impressions, and the digital landscape inevitably pivots toward the next sudden pop culture disruption, the image of Will and Jada standing unified in the face of a decade of separation remains entirely uncompromised. It leaves an audience that is both deeply skeptical and undeniably captivated to wonder if the traditional rules of marriage are becoming completely obsolete for those who possess the power to invent their own reality, leaving the rest of the world to endlessly watch and debate the fluid, unyielding boundaries of their historic legacy in the hypervisible years to come.